Morning, folks. Monday morning. Jer here from The View. No news. So today's a match view. So slightly longer than normal. But that really depends on how long the stakes. Not a great day. Not a great day. We went into the last four games. Well, include the Liverpool game coming up in those 4 game block. And I think I said 4 to 6 points would be a reasonable haul from that. To come away with 0 points is a problem. We obviously covered it last week on a video about who's to blame, whether it's the board, the players, or the manager. That video is linked up here somewhere if you want to. If you haven't seen it, you want to check that out. Just a more balanced view of what's really been going on. So for yesterday's game, like to try and break this down to 2 different categories and look at the positives and the negatives from the game. And I know it doesn't feel like there's many positives, but they're worth talking about. If you look at the start of the game, it's specifically the first 30 minutes of the game where we were reasonably okay. And I mean okay. Leeds press, it's a positive and a negative. Leeds press seems to be now only in the first 10-15 minutes of a game. So this high press goes early in the first 10 minutes of the game. We cause a bit of pressure. And then it seems to just drop off. We seem to just reduce back a little bit. Which brings its own problems. So whether the players are not capable of putting in as much energy as needed to do that, or whether it's a tactical decision to press for 10 minutes and then drop off. But, it's not 100% working in the right ways. But in the first half an hour, we saw the first chance of the game is a negative and a positive. It goes to Harrison Reed. Now, why is it a negative? Is because, yet again, an opposition player has found himself in space at the back post in Leeds box. That has happened multiple times over the season for it not to be fixed at this stage. Mark Rocket, to his credit, reads this brilliantly. If you watch the video, watch Mark Rocket's movement. As soon as Harrison Reed takes it out his chest, he makes a run to the goal line. Not to the player, to the goal line. His initial block is brilliant. Cock reacts to his movement and then as it clears. It's brilliant defending by both of them, but it's bad defending in the setup. So whoever's left back and Stroke in this position, Stroke gets caught in 2 different areas in yesterday's game. He was better than Firpo. Don't get me wrong, he's better than Firpo, but he gets caught in 2 areas. And we'll go through that. And what I'm going to try and do as well is I've got a couple of stills from the game that I want to kind of show and go through and show mistakes that were obviously made and where they were made, as opposed to just pointing fingers at maybe a manager necessarily, but they're his tactics, and we'll get to Jesse in a minute. The first goal that we scored is a fantastic breakaway. It's lovely football. It's great one-touch passing. The ball, a little flick inside from Sinisterra to Aronson. And then Aronson's pass to Jack Harrison is just perfectly timed. It's a beautiful ball that is just too far away from the defender to get his toe on. And close enough to Harrison to react and push through. Jack should score. Again, reaction-wise, Rodrigo reacts brilliantly to get the tap in, and he lets everyone know how he feels when he scores that. It mattered to him. And then, look, the second half, the one-on-one save from Meslier is brilliant. Stays big as long as he can. Thought about this again a couple of weeks ago with the Crystal Palace game and Liam Cooper standing up and making himself big for as long as you can. Makes a great save. And then Somerville's goal at the end is fantastic persistence and battling from Joffrey to win that ball and keep pushing and get the ball through to Somerville, who reacts really well and scores. I'm delighted for Somerville. He's maybe that's the goal that he needs to kick on. The more I watch the game, Sam Greenwood was fine in the game, but the more I watched it, the more I kept thinking to myself, I'd love to grab hold of Somerville and Greenwood and just shake them and say to them, you're good enough for this level. Believe in yourself a bit more. You are good enough for this level. They're 2 good players, and at moments in games they show how good they are. And then it looks like they're just a little bit intimidated by the surroundings, and they're just not as impactful as they can be. But it's there in the 2 of them. The movement, the positioning is all there. But they just need a bit more belief in themselves to go. And that's really tough to get in the run that Leeds are on at the moment. It's a bad run. When we look at the negatives, that first chance of the game was Harrison Reed at the back post. That's a problem free. If you look at the second goal, Bill just gets pushed away from Mitrovic way too easily. It's such a simple, preventable goal, and it's an easy header at the front post, and it's not good enough defending. It's just not good enough in the Premier League. I'd even say in the Championship, conceding from a corner at that. And here's a problem. We haven't been conceding from corners this season. And we just conceded from a corner, bringing some of last year's players back in. Rasmus Christensen has been fine for me over the last 3 or 4 games. I thought he's been getting better and starting to show the player we thought he was coming in initially. Again, 6 changes for the game. It just doesn't work with this team. Leeds players need consistency in playing. A 6-player team. I saw people going, great, we're finally changing the team. You see my tweet is on my account from yesterday and also on the community tab. I did not like the look of this team that went out yesterday. I thought it was, again, Just go to your strongest 11 to try and win the game. That strongest 11 played earlier on the season. Just get him back on the pitch. I know Tyler Adams had a knock. It's a knock. That's a big negative to me. We've got players missing games because they've got a little knock. You know, just toughen up and go and play the game. If it's a knock, unless it's a tear, which it isn't because it's only going to be out for 3 or 4 days. It's not a tear, it's a knock. Toughen up a little bit, you know, and get involved in the game or at least make the bench. But protecting players with knocks annoys me. It's an annoying thing for me. I'm not going to go down a huge negative rabbit hole here. I'm going to try and let you guys make the decision for yourselves. Fulham's second goal is just a bad goal. We'll go through it now in a sec. And Fulham's third goal is a mess, an absolute mess. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show a couple of pictures and just talk around them for 2 seconds. That I want to show is from Fulham's second goal. The first goal was the first goal, but Fulham's second goal. And this is where the problem lies. If you look at the back four here, Stroke is the left back, and look how deep and narrow he is. Look how far he's tucked in. You've got Aronson and you've got Harrison both pointing and looking like somebody should be there. That ball has been played out by Willian. There is nobody out there to block that cross coming in. Nobody. When you think about who you're playing against, where does Alexander Mitrovic get the bulk of his goals from? Crosses. Balls into the box. And we just did a bad job of cutting out crosses. This is basic defending for me. That ball goes out. It should be cleared. As he crosses, and you see it on this image here, look where Stroke is, look where Cooper is, and look where Robin Koch are. Liam Cooper and Robin Koch are far too close together. Liam Cooper should be 4 or 5 yards more forward. And that allows the space for Rocket to drop in there and fill that gap. And Stroke is probably a bit too far forward as well, which leaves the Cordoba-Reid completely free to get an easy header to put it in the box. But you can see it from that. The back of the post is all covered. It's all marked up. Everyone's got doing their job. They're all marked. There's a bit of tussling going on. But in the middle there, the marking's not right. Koch and Cooper. Koch's probably in the right place. Cooper's definitely not. And Stroke is probably too far forward as well. But that cross, before I even got to that area, there should have been somebody out there to cut that cross in. And that's the lack of a natural left full who knows where they're supposed to be and knows where the danger is. And that's a problem. And that's a board problem. The next one then is the third goal here. And from this position here, you see Liam Cooper, Mitrovic and Stroke together. Stroke and Mitrovic don't need to both be there. Stroke should be dropping off there and trying to cover the other player that's in behind him, Harrison Reid in behind him. But he doesn't. And from that position, you got 3 Leeds players around Mitrovic. That ball should never come out of there. And it does. It's a simple back heel. You're looking from a different angle then, the throw in from Cordoba-Reid. And it's, if you look at it, they're set up perfectly. There shouldn't be an issue here. Defensively, we look solid here. Everyone's marking. Luke Ayling is marking Willian. Get to that in a sec. And then as we get to moving on past the Mitrovic bit, we look at the pullback here from Harrison Reid. And look now where Luke Ayling is. Luke Ayling has now been pulled into the ball. Matthias Klick is in the wrong position and isn't able to get there. And what happens is then it's a tap in. So they're individual errors, but they're also a system error from the manager, not covering the bases, like cut out the crosses. And then from a board perspective, not having a natural left back. And I'm not going to show Pat Bamford's one because we all saw Pat Bamford's one. Another 1-on-1. That's 9 big goal scoring chances. I mean, the XG on these is like 0.9. Like he should be scoring these goals. We can all say it, and I've said it, and we all hope Pat Bamford's going to come good, but how long are we going to wait for this? Like, how long are we going to wait? There's a big decision to be made. We said this last week. I'm going to just make I'll make my thoughts clear on a couple of things. First things first. For everybody blaming the San Francisco 49ers for Jesse Marsh being in the role, do your homework. Jesse Marsh was a Victor Orta appointment. He's chased him for 2 years. Victor Orta is the one with the algorithms. He's the one with the system. He's the one that says they analysed his style of play and his tactics at the clubs he's been at. That's Victor Orta's decision. Victor Orta also picked Thomas Christensen and Paul Heckenbottom. They were his choices. He got it right with Marcelo Bielsa. And we're back to that. A clock is right at least twice a day. He got Bielsa right. The rest of them have been wrong. So people are saying, and I'm really annoyed. I'm going to call out a channel here because I'm really annoyed because I watched them and I liked them. LS11 put a comment up to say today about a conflict of interest between Jesse Marsh and San Francisco 49ers because he was American. 49ers didn't appoint Jesse Marsh. Victor Orta scouted him, headhunted him, and went again. He has been talking to him for 2 years. When he came up as a replacement for Bielsa since Bielsa got the job because of the 1 year rolling contracts. So let's be really, really clear on that. It is a cheap and it is lazy. That's the first thing. Jesse Marsh was a Victor Orta appointment. That's it. So Where we go from here, I don't know. I mean, Jesse, I'm surprised he's still in the job this morning. I said that in my tweet yesterday. I like Jesse Marsh. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a nice fella. I think he's tried to carry himself in the right way. I think he's been respectable. I think he's looked like, he's handled himself the right way. He hasn't shirked on questions. He hasn't got, annoyed and agitated by direct questions from the media. He hasn't. He's made himself available. He stood up. He's taken the blame. He said yesterday, the buck stops with me, and it's not right so far. Players have a lot to answer for in terms of their individual mistakes that they keep making week after week, and then the board have a decision, have blame to be pointed at them for the players that are already there and not bringing in the correct players and not finishing the puzzle. We talked about that, so that's that. So it's a negative day. It's been a negative couple of weeks, 8 weeks. I try and stay balanced on this. There are glimmers of hope within that team. There are players that are there that are good, and I think are good, and I still believe we're 3 or 4 players shy of a decent team here. And as I said on the podcast I did during the week, the expectation level of our fans right now isn't that high. Like, we would accept probably an event-free mid-table season for a year or two, and then try and build and push for European positions. But to be in the position that we're in, again, because of failing to fill the gaps that were in the squad and failing to learn from mistakes of last year, for me is inexcusable. There's an arrogance to that, and I'm really annoyed at them over that. Jesse Marsh will ultimately fall on the sword for this. I said this yesterday, but don't make any mistakes about this. This is 100% the board's mistake. This is the board's fault. They have made these mistakes. They have left us without a left back, which cost us again yesterday. They have left us without a goal scorer, that we wouldn't be in this situation. If Pat Bamford had taken half of the chances that he has had, and these are the goal scoring chances, not the half chances, the goal scoring chances he's had, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in right now. We'd be sitting comfy mid-table. So these are decisions the board have made that have directly impacted. This is not a finger point at Pat Bamford. He has done fantastically well for Leeds, and he's given everything he has for Leeds. But at some point, you've got to move on from these players and get better players, and we haven't done that. And unfortunately, we're now reaping the rewards, or reaping the consequences of not filling the gaps and finishing the puzzle. Angus Kinnear, for me, needs to stop writing program notes. He's just, like I said it earlier on the season, he's gaslighting the Leeds fans, and I felt again yesterday he was doing the exact same thing. His program notes were online this time and not in print, just so they wouldn't be seen. But the Square Ball went and found them and tweeted them out. So go and have a look at his program notes from yesterday. He's made a lot of mistakes, Angus Kinnear, from the badge, that one, remember that badge? The Gaviscon man, to some of the appointments, to his comments about our international strikers, Adam Forshaw being our next signing, who is still injured. And then again, say we backed Jesse Marsh yesterday. I feel sorry for Jesse Marsh going into this, but someone has to go. Someone has to take responsibility for this. No, I don't want Sean Dyke as manager. No, I don't want Stephen Gerrard as manager. People who are asking for these people are crazy. Somebody yesterday was also asking, can we get Chris Wood in? There's a huge portion of people that I see online who only seem to know players who used to play for Leeds and left. It's the Charlie Taylors, it's the Chris Woods, it was the Alan Smiths before that. It's bring back Ross McCormack. We may as well bring them all back in. We've got to move forward with stuff. We've got to stop looking behind us and going, well, we had these before, I can get these guys back in. We've got to move forward and get better players. We've got to move forward and get a better ownership structure. If the 49ers were ever going to step in and buy a club, it's right now is when it's needed, before January, because Radz doesn't have the money. He doesn't. It's that simple. Zero net spend last year, lowest wages in the table. These are all facts. It's not a rant. These are all facts. These are all facts. And it's left us in a position where we're now third from bottom. We won the 98% chance, or 96% chance of staying in the Premier League if you win your opening. You get 8 points from your opening 5 games. Leeds had that, so we're in the 4% bracket that won't survive unless we sort this out quickly. There is time. There's only a handful of points between us and mid-table. Now is the time to push to try and get out of this. Look at Aston Villa. One simple change. I don't think it's Jesse Marsh's fault all up, but someone needs to come in and change the system with the players that we haven't, because again we were too narrow yesterday, and again it cost us. The same against Leicester, same against Brighton, same against Southampton. This is a repetitive problem. It is a good manager can identify when his system isn't working and identify when things are going badly and fix it. And that's what we need right now. So that is the match for you. That's my rant. I'm sorry I don't normally do it this way, but it's getting to that stage. But this is the review of the match, not the channel all up. So tomorrow we're back with news, and the rest of the week will just be news. So it'll be back to normal. I'm not going to celebrate this. I'm sure there will be news throughout the week about managers being linked with Leeds and other people's opinion on Jesse Marsh. But for me, the blame 100% lies at the feet of Victor Orta, Radz and Angus Kinnear, and something needs to be done about that. Thanks for watching the channel. Thanks for supporting us as always, and I'll hopefully see you all tomorrow for some news. See ya. Bye.